This video explains how to automate a test model in order to generate test scripts for a proprietary environment. The test model built with MaTeLo allows the test of a cruise control created in Scade Suite environment. The test scripts associated to this environment are in TCL. Before generating tests and test scripts from the test model, a reminder of MaTeLo features is done. To open an existing project, select it in the Project Explorer window by a double-click. A tree view made up of 4 icons appears. The chain icon refers to all the sub-chains of your project. You can visualize each one of them via a list by double-clicking. The profile icon refers to different profiles associated to your project. A profile allows the creation of different probabilities for a same transition. The report icon refers to the different test reports and requirements coverage reports associated to your project. The test cases icon refers to the test cases generated from the test model of your project. Now let's review the MaTeLo library. The first tab is for the types. A type can be an enumerated, or a data structure defined by the user. An enumerated is a list of values that can be affected to a variable. In this example, an enumerated called e_cc_state has been created and has 4 possible values. A structure allows the creation of a data field composed of several distinct variables. In this example, a structure called s_break compressed has been created and it contains 2 fields, 1 Boolean and a numerical data. You can consider a structure as a particular type. To create an enumerated or a structure, place the cursor on the Type Library folder, right-click on it, then select New Child and choose a type for this new type. Proceed as shown in the video to parameter and rename this new data type. The second tab deals with the data used to create the test model. The folder Global Variable contains the global variables of the project. A global variable is a data that can be shared throughout the different transitions of the model. It can be used to affect a value to a stimulation function, create an expected result for a verification function, or be used in a treatment function in case of a complex calculation. The constants folder contains the constants defined by the user. The inputs folder contains the stimulation functions, also called stimuli, used to represent the inputs of the system under test and to affect values. An input can be a Boolean, a numerical value, a string, a notion of time, or one the specific types previously created. In this presentation, the input called break is a structure of type s_break previously created and then contains 2 fields, 1 Boolean and a numerical value. The output folder contains the verification functions. These functions represent the output of the system under test, and the values to check. The Requirements tab contains the requirements or specifications to model. The first column is the name of the requirement, and the second one contains a description of the requirement. To modify the description of a requirement, click on the icon like shown in the video. A text field appears. To edit a new requirement, place the cursor on the Requirement Library folder, right-click and select New Child and Requirement Definition. A requirement named rec_name by default is created. To rename it, select the long name field in the Properties window and edit the name of the requirement. Modify the description of the requirement as shown. You can import requirements with CSV format or RECF from a predefined template. Select File in the menu bar, and click on Import. Select Requirement, and finally the appropriate format. The Treatment Functions tab contains the functions used in your test model to affect and/or calculate the values of inputs, outputs of the model. To associate a treatment function to your project in order to use it in your test model, select the Treatment Function folder, right-click, New Child and choose Function Wizard. A window appears. It contains the library of functions available in MaTeLo. Among the functions predefined, there are basic mathematical functions, a function for affecting values of the global variables to the inputs, outputs, but also functions allowing the use of an external such as MATLAB and Selab to calculate the expected results. You can as well create your own treatment functions with Java or Python language. The Test Platform tab contains the test functions to create your simulation environment. It is mainly a text field that you can edit in MaTeLo via a specific window. You can create or import your test script functions in any language of test you wish to use, from the moment it is editable literally. To visualize or modify the content of these scripts, select the function, right-click on it and then choose Edit Script. If your test script functions use variables that must be instantiated in the test cases, you need to define them as parameters. To do that, you can use the $character as a prefix followed by the name of the parameter concerned in your test script functions. In the library of the Test Platform tab, select the function concerned, right-click on it and choose New Parameter. A new field appears under the name of the function. Rename it if necessary to fit the name used previously in the addition field. This parameter appears in red in the addition field, which means that you just defined a keyword for your function. In your test model, when associating a test script function to a transition, and this parameter to a variable of the model, MaTeLo can generate your test script functions by instantiating these parameters with the default values used in the test model during the execution of the test algorithms. Keep in mind that these functions will be used by MaTeLo to create test scripts so that your system under test accordingly to the simulation environment. The central interface of MaTeLo is in Test Model Editor. A test model is graphically composed of a set of state or substate and transitions. A state is represented by a spherical shape, and a transition by an arrow. A state can represent a sublevel of the model. In this case, a white relief is displayed in the background of the state. To access the sublevel, double-click on the state concerned. You can modify the view with the help of toolbar. The transitions allows the representation of stimulations, verifications, the association of requirements, the treatment functions, and the scripting function. All these information required for the creation of test cases are contained on the transitions level. Select a transition, and you'll see it highlighted in orange. In the Editor Properties window, the information of the transition appear. To associate an input function to a transition, select the Stimulation tab and drag the input function desired into the Stimulation folder. Notice that an input function can only be associated to stimulations on a transition. It is not possible to associate an input with verification. To modify the value of this input, select the Profiling tab, then the Profiles window. In the column Value, select the line corresponding to the profile used, and then the icon on the left. A new window appears. It allows the selection of values to affect to the input chosen. The Fixed Distribution option is for assigning a fixed value defined by the user. The Rectangular Distribution allows the selection of an equivalence class for the input. An equivalence class is a range of values for which the behavior of the system will be the same, no matter the value chosen by the algorithm selected. You can create several range of values for the same equivalence class and associate different probabilities. To deactivate a class, associate a probability of 0. For the Gaussian distribution, you can specify the mean and the variance to use. Once the information are given, click on OK. You can associate several inputs on a same stimulation of a transition. The process is the same for the outputs, except that the association is done with the Verification tab. To associate one or several requirements to a transition, select the Transition tab and then Requirements. Choose a requirement that you wish to associate from the requirement library, and drag and drop it in the editor window under the title requirement. To associate test script functions previously created in the library to the MaTeLo model, select the transition on which you want it to be executed. Select the Transition tab, and then select Test Platform. Choose the function inside of the Test Platform library, and drag and drop it in the window. In this example, the test script function called setCC_speed defined in the library has a parameter named speed. By selecting the column value category of type input and value from of the input speed, the test script function will be instantiated by the value of the input speed defined in the Stimulation tab. Apart from the association of the function with the transition through the drag and drop, the mapping between the inputs, outputs used to model and the test script functions is done in this way to associate the model values with the test script functions. The principle is the same for the outputs and the test script functions. You can also associate to the test script functions parameters some generic information of the model, without systematically create an input or output. The generic information can be, for example, the name of the transition, the step, and so on. These are accessible via the scrolling menu of the value from column. To create the test cases from the model, select the generation window with the help of the button on the top left. Select the default strategy or create your own strategy. Select the substates of the model you want to parse or include in the generation. Select the appropriate algorithm to fit your test strategy. Click on the Generate button. The test cases appear in the main window of the generation perspective. You can modify the type of display by double-clicking on a test case and then by selecting the type of display. In this example, the display chosen is HTML. To associate a test case or several to your project, right-click on it and select Add to Project. In the test report, the information that are displayed under the Stimulations sidebar match the inputs. You can actually see its name and value. The information that appear under the verification sidebar match the outputs. You can see the name and value of it as well. The information that appear under the requirements side. To generate the test scripts along with the exact same test cases generated, select File in the menu, choose Export, and then click on Export Test Cases to Script. Select the test cases to export as a test script as well as the location of the file to be exported. Click on Finish and the test scripts will be exported. You can choose the extension of the test script to be generated under the tab of the test configuration. In this example, the extension is of type SSS. The test script generated matches the different functions associated to the transitions, accordingly with the order and instantiation done in the HTML test plan previously seen. The generic parameters of the functions have been replaced by the numerical values or string contained in the test plan. The test model as well as the test scripts have been created to test the behavior of a cruise control designed under the Scade environment. Then the scripts must be with the SSS format. The next part of the video shows the execution of the test scripts under this programming environment. You can easily adopt this method in order to maintain and create your test plans and test scripts for your proprietary simulation environment. You just have to have an editable language to write the tests.